In a world that constantly tries to dictate how we should feel, think, and act, imagine possessing the ability to rise above the noise, to step into each morning with absolute clarity and purpose, unaffected by distractions or chaos. That's not just powerful, it's life-changing. Because the way you start your morning shapes your entire existence. Most people wake up reacting. They reach for their phones before their feet even touch the floor. They get lost in emails, notifications, and the endless demands of the world before they've had a moment to take control of their own thoughts. But history's greatest minds, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, and even Julius Caesar, understood something most people never realize. Mornings aren't just about waking up. They are about preparing for battle. Julius Caesar, before stepping onto the battlefield, before making decisions that would alter the course of history, would begin his mornings in preparation, reading, strategizing, sharpening his mind before the world had a chance to test him. Marcus Aurelius, ruler of the most powerful empire in the world, didn't leave his mindset to chance. He started each morning by journaling, reinforcing his principles, reminding himself that no matter what happened that day, his mind, his choices, his discipline were in his control. Seneca practiced gratitude before the world could give him a reason to complain. Epictetus, a man born into slavery who later became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, understood this better than anyone. He knew that control over life begins with control over oneself. And yet today, most people give that control away. They wake up rushing, reacting, absorbing stress before they've even had a chance to set their own course. But here's what you need to understand. Your mornings dictate your destiny, and if you master them, if you fill them with habits that strengthen your mind, build resilience, and cultivate clarity, you won't just have better mornings, you'll have a better life. So if you've ever felt like your mornings slip away from you, if you've ever wanted to start your days with more purpose, discipline, and control, then listen closely. Because today, we're diving into 10 Stoic-inspired morning habits that will help you build an unshakable mindset, so that no matter what life throws at you, you'll be ready. Let's begin. Part 1. Find your Ikigai. Every morning, you wake up with a choice. You can either drift through life, following routines that no longer inspire you, or you can wake up with purpose, knowing exactly why you do what you do. But here's the problem. Most people don't know their reason for getting up in the morning. They wake up tired, uninspired, stuck in a loop of repetition, going through the motions without a sense of direction. The Japanese have a name for this missing piece, Ikigai. It means reason for being, the force that pulls you forward, the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what can sustain you. And though the term is Japanese, the philosophy is universal. The Stoics had their own version of this. They called it living in accordance with nature, not in the sense of trees and rivers, but in the sense of your nature, your highest self, the version of you that fulfills their role in the world with discipline and honor. Julius Caesar understood this. As a young man, he was captured by pirates. Most people would have begged for their lives. Not Caesar. Even in chains, he knew he was meant for more. He mocked his captors, telling them they should demand a higher ransom because one day he would be a ruler. And when he was finally freed, he hunted them down and executed them all. Because he didn't just dream of greatness, he embodied it. The Vikings had a similar belief. They spoke of Fylgja, a guiding force that connects a warrior to their fate. A Viking who ignored their calling was doomed to a life of insignificance. But one who followed it, they became legends. Marcus Aurelius lived by this philosophy every day. Before stepping into the weight of ruling Rome, he would write in his journal, reminding himself of his duty, his values, and the type of leader he wanted to be. Seneca practiced daily reflection, asking himself if his actions aligned with his highest self. Epictetus, born a slave, rose to become one of the most respected philosophers of his time because he believed that external circumstances mean nothing if you master yourself. So how do you find your Ikigai, your personal calling? Ask yourself these 4 questions. 1. What do I love doing? What makes time disappear when I do it? 2. What am I naturally good at? What do others admire in me? 3. What does the world need? What problem am I drawn to solve? 4. How can I sustain this? How can I make this a lasting pursuit? Most people never ask these questions, and as a result they drift. But the Stoics, the samurai, the Vikings, the greatest leaders in history, they lived with purpose, direction, and clarity. They didn't waste their mornings. They used them as preparation for greatness, because once you know why you wake up, you'll never hit snooze again. But knowing your purpose is just the first step. Because if you don't eliminate distractions, if you don't protect your focus, then no matter how strong your vision is, you will lose your way. And that's exactly what we're going to explore next. Part 2. Eliminate distractions. The art of protecting your focus. Every battle is won before it begins. Not with swords, not with strength, but with preparation and focus. Yet every morning most people wake up and immediately lose the battle for their minds. They reach for their phones before their feet even touch the floor. Emails, social media, notifications. They let the world take control of their focus before they've even had a chance to think. But the greatest minds in history understood something different. A distracted mind is a defeated mind. And that's why the Stoics, great strategists like Sun Tzu, and the warriors of ancient times all shared one truth. Focus is everything. Sun Tzu's warning: if you lose focus, you lose the war. Over 2,500 years ago, Sun Tzu, the legendary Chinese strategist, wrote, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles." But here's the problem. Most people don't know themselves because they never give themselves time to think. They wake up reacting, letting distractions dictate their mood, their energy, and their priorities. They don't realize they are at war with their own attention. And just like in war, whoever controls the battlefield controls the outcome. This is why the Stoics trained their minds to resist external noise. Marcus Aurelius, the ruler of Rome, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He knew that if his mind was scattered, he was already defeated. And in today's world, distractions are the greatest enemy. But just like the Stoics and Sun Tzu's warriors, you can reclaim your focus if you take control of your battlefield. How to eliminate distractions and protect your focus. Here's how to win the war against distraction using lessons from Stoicism and Sun Tzu's strategy. Control the battlefield first. Don't let distractions win before your day even starts. Prepare your environment. Remove unnecessary notifications, set boundaries, and design your mornings with purpose. Delay the digital world. When you wake up, don't immediately reach for your phone. Give yourself at least 30 minutes of clarity before letting external noise in. Follow Marcus Aurelius's morning practice. Instead of consuming distractions, start your day with intention. Journal, meditate, or reflect. Set your own course before the world sets it for you. Be selective with what enters your mind. Seneca warned about allowing too many voices into your thoughts. If something doesn't strengthen you, don't let it take up space in your head. Because here's the truth. If you wake up distracted, you will live distracted. But if you wake up with focus, you will live with purpose. And this is just the beginning, because after you remove distractions, you need to train your mind for discipline. And in the next part, we'll explore exactly how to do that, using a powerful practice from the Stoics and the warrior traditions of the Spartans and samurai. Let's continue. Part 3. Train your mind for discipline. The Spartan and samurai method. Discipline isn't something you have, it's something you train. Most people wake up and follow their emotions. They hit snooze, they skip the workout, they put off the difficult tasks. But here's the truth. If you let your emotions control your actions, you will never control your life. The Stoics, the Spartans, and the samurai all understood this. They knew that discipline isn't about feeling motivated. It's about acting, no matter how you feel. The Spartan philosophy, hardship builds strength. In ancient Sparta, Warriors were trained to embrace discomfort. From childhood, they were placed in the Ikigai, a brutal training system that forced them to adapt to pain, hunger, and exhaustion. They slept on the ground. They ate minimal food. They trained until their bodies and minds were unbreakable, because the Spartans understood. The more you suffer in training, the less you bleed in battle. Discipline wasn't a punishment, it was a weapon. And this is exactly what the Stoics believed. Seneca wrote, "We should discipline ourselves in small things, and from these progress to things of greater value." He meant that if you can master small daily struggles, you build the strength to handle life's biggest challenges. This is why the samurai followed the philosophy of shugyo, a life of rigorous training and self-discipline. A samurai did not wait for battle to prepare. He trained every day, whether there was a war or not, because they knew the greatest battles are won before they are fought. And in today's world, your greatest battle is against your own mind. How to train your mind for discipline. If you want to build unshakable discipline, apply these 3 principles from the Stoics, Spartans, and samurai. Start your morning with resistance. Do something difficult as soon as you wake up. Cold showers, a workout, deep reading. Train your mind to do hard things first. Follow the Spartan endurance principle. Build resilience by doing small, difficult things daily. If you can resist the small temptations, you will have the strength to resist greater ones. Practice shugyo, the samurai way. Repetition creates mastery. Discipline comes from small, repeated actions. Journaling, training, practicing self-control. Whatever it is, do it every single day. Because here's the truth. Discipline is not about motivation. It's about preparing yourself daily, so that when life tests you, you are ready. And once you build discipline, you need something even more powerful. Emotional resilience. Because a strong body and mind mean nothing if you let emotions control your actions. And in the next part, we'll explore a powerful practice from the Stoics and the ancient Egyptians that will help you develop unshakable emotional strength. Let's continue. Part 4. Train ma'at, your emotions for resilience, the Stoic and Egyptian method. You can train your body, you can train your mind, but if you can't control your emotions, you will always be a slave to your reactions. Most people go through life at the mercy of their feelings. They get angry and say things they regret. They feel fear and avoid challenges. They experience failure and lose confidence. But the Stoics and the ancient Egyptians knew something most people don't. Emotions are not the enemy. Uncontrolled emotions are. And if you don't master them, they will master you. Julius Caesar, the power of emotional control. Julius Caesar faced the ultimate betrayal. His closest friend, Brutus, the man he trusted like a son, turned against him. Most would have reacted with rage, vengeance, or despair. But Caesar, he didn't beg. He didn't curse. He didn't even flinch. Instead, he accepted the moment with complete control. His famous last words, "Et tu, brute," were not a cry of pain, but a realization, an understanding that even betrayal was part of the game he had chosen. Because he knew what the Stoics taught, that you cannot control what others do. You can only control your own response. And the ancient Egyptians had a term for this mindset. Ma'at. Ma'at, the Egyptian law of balance. The ancient Egyptians believed in Ma'at, the principle of balance, harmony, and self-control. Pharaohs were expected to embody Ma'at, not just as rulers, but as symbols of calm, wisdom, and order. To live by Ma'at meant to never let emotions override logic, to stay steady in the face of storms. Because true strength is not found in aggression or dominance, it's found in calm precision. And this is why the greatest leaders, from Egypt to Rome to today, all follow the same truth. Your emotions should serve you, not control you. How to train your emotions for resilience. If you want absolute control over your emotions, apply these 3 timeless principles. 1. Pause before you react. Seneca wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Give yourself space before responding to emotions. Most battles are lost in moments of uncontrolled reaction. 2. Apply the philosophy of Ma'at, the Egyptian way. Seek internal balance. Before reacting emotionally, ask yourself, Will this reaction bring clarity or chaos? Train yourself to choose harmony over impulse. 3. Use your emotions. Don't obey them. Epictetus taught that emotions are signals, not commands. If you feel fear, analyze it. If you feel anger, channel it into something productive. Because here's the truth. Strong emotions don't make you weak. Giving in to them does. The Stoics didn't suppress emotions. The Egyptians didn't ignore them. They trained them. And once you master this, you will have something most people never achieve. Complete control over your inner world. But even emotional control is not enough. Because once you master yourself, you must also master how you move through the world. And in the next part, we'll explore an ancient Viking and Stoic practice that will change how you approach every challenge in life. Let's continue. Part 5. Face challenges with power, the Viking and Stoic mindset. Some people see obstacles and turn back. Others see them and step forward. Because they know that challenges aren't meant to stop you. They're meant to shape you. This is a truth that the Stoics and the Vikings both understood. And if you embrace it, you will never see hardship the same way again. Drengskapr, the Viking code of high-mindedness and courage. The Vikings had a word, Drengskapr. It didn't just mean strength. It meant facing every hardship with courage, high-mindedness, and an unshakable will. To live by Drengskapr was to meet every challenge with dignity, to never crumble under pressure, and to walk through life unafraid of struggle. A true Viking was not measured by how many battles he won, but by how he carried himself in the face of adversity. A storm at sea, he faced the waves, not fearing the depths. A hopeless fight, he stood his ground, even against impossible odds. A brutal winter, he endured knowing that hardship was part of the path. To the Vikings, the real battle was not against enemies, but against weakness of the mind. And this is exactly what the Stoics believed. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Because challenges aren't just obstacles. They are the training ground for greatness. And that's why how you respond to hardship defines everything. How to face challenges, like a Stoic warrior. If you want to turn challenges into power, apply these 3 principles from the Vikings and the Stoics. See struggle as training. Every challenge is an opportunity. The harder the path, the stronger you become. Embody Drengskapr, the Viking inner strength. Face obstacles without hesitation, because the moment you confront fear, you weaken its hold on you. Detach from outcomes. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." It means that whatever blocks you is the path forward, if you have the courage to keep moving. Because here's the truth. Most people avoid struggle, but warriors seek it. And if you've found value in these timeless lessons, consider leaving your like on this video and subscribing to the channel to show your support. Drop a comment below. What's one challenge in your life that made you stronger? But resilience alone isn't enough. Because once you face obstacles head-on, you need something even more powerful. The ability to see beyond the present moment. And in the next part, we'll explore a powerful samurai and Stoic technique that will shift the way you think about time, patience, and mastery. Part 6. Slow down, take control, the samurai and Stoic morning practice. You've eliminated distractions. You've built discipline. You've prepared for challenges. Now, before the day takes over, pause. Because the next step in the Stoic morning routine is not about doing more. It's about doing less on purpose. Most people wake up and rush. They move from one task to another, their minds already jumping ahead to the next thing, the next worry, the next demand. But the Stoics and the samurai understood a truth that most people miss. Speed is useless if you're headed in the wrong direction. And that's why the strongest minds in history began each morning in control, not in chaos. Zanshin, the samurai's art of awareness. The samurai warriors of Japan lived by a concept called Zanshin, a state of calm, focused awareness. Before drawing their swords, before stepping into battle, before making a single move, they would pause, breathe, become fully present, because they knew that rushing leads to mistakes. And this is exactly what the Stoics practiced every morning. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Impatience creates stress that doesn't exist. A mind that's always rushing is a mind that's always suffering." The solution? Slow down. Take control. Move with intention. How to build a Stoic morning practice of awareness. If you want to start your mornings with clarity and control, apply these 3 principles from the samurai and the Stoics. 1. Pause before you start. When you wake up, don't jump out of bed. Take 30 seconds to breathe, feel your body, and anchor yourself in the present moment. 2. Move with intention. Whether making coffee, stretching, or getting dressed, do it deliberately. Train yourself to resist the urge to rush. 3. Follow Zanshin, the art of present awareness. Before engaging with the world, spend 5 minutes in stillness. Journal, reflect, or simply sit in silence. This is where true clarity is found. Because here's the truth. If you can control the first moments of your day, you can control anything. The samurai didn't rush. The Stoics didn't react. They moved with purpose. And once you master this, you need something even more powerful. The ability to let go of what you can't control. And in the next part, we'll explore a powerful Taoist and Stoic mindset that will completely shift how you handle uncertainty. Part 7. Let go of control. The Taoist and Stoic philosophy. You've built discipline, clarity, patience, and awareness. But there's still one thing that can destroy all of it in an instant. Trying to control what you can't. Most people wake up and immediately fight against reality. They check their phone hoping for a message from someone, only to see nothing. They stress over an email from work, before even opening it. They wake up already resisting the day, trying to force things to go exactly as they imagined. And because of that, they suffer over things they have no power to change. But the Stoics and the Taoists knew this truth well. Control is an illusion. Mastery comes from letting go. Wu Wei, the Taoist concept of effortless flow. In Taoist philosophy, there is a term called Wu Wei, meaning effortless action. It does not mean doing nothing. It means moving with life rather than against it. A river does not fight to move forward. It simply flows. And this is exactly how the Stoics approached life. Live in accordance with nature, the Stoic view on control. Epictetus taught that happiness comes from aligning your will with reality, not from trying to force things that were never within your control. This is what the Stoics called living in accordance with nature. Nature is unpredictable. Some days are smooth, others are storms. Some people will betray you. Some opportunities will vanish. Some things will never happen the way you planned. But when you accept life as it is, rather than how you wish it to be, you become unshakable. Epictetus wrote, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." The moment you resist reality, you suffer. The moment you accept it, you become free. How to start your day with detachment. If you want to move through life with calmness and control, apply these 3 principles from the Stoics and the Taoists. Accept what you can't change. Start each morning by reminding yourself, some things will go wrong today. And that's okay. You don't control everything, but you control how you respond. Flow like water. When challenges arise, don't fight them. Adapt. Instead of reacting emotionally, ask yourself, what is the best response I can control? Release expectations. Most suffering comes from expecting life to be different than it is. Let go of how you think the day should go, and focus on what you can do with what actually happens. Because here's the truth. You don't control the world. You control yourself. The Stoics didn't resist life. The Taoists didn't force it. They flowed with it. And once you master this, you need one final skill, the ability to reflect, learn, and improve every single day. And in the next part, we'll explore a powerful Greek and Stoic practice that will transform the last moments of your morning into your greatest tool for self-growth. Let's continue. Part 8. The power of reflection, the Greek method for self-mastery. You can train your body. You can sharpen your mind. You can even master your emotions. But there is one habit that will determine whether you stay the same or evolve every single day. Reflection. Because wisdom isn't just about experience. It's about learning from it, and the ancient Greeks understood this better than anyone. Over 2,500 years ago, the philosopher Pythagoras taught his students a method of daily self-improvement so powerful that it shaped the teachings of Plato, Aristotle, and even the Stoics. It was called the nightly review, a practice of questioning oneself at the end of each day. Each night, his students would sit in silence and ask themselves 3 questions. Where did I act with virtue today? Where did I fail to live up to my principles? What will I do differently tomorrow? This was not about guilt or regret. It was about self-mastery. Because Pythagoras believed that if you do not pause to examine yourself, you will repeat the same mistakes endlessly. And this is where the greatest student-teacher relationship in history comes into play. Aristotle and Alexander the Great, how reflection shapes leaders. Aristotle didn't just teach philosophy. He shaped the mind of a conqueror. At just 13 years old, Alexander the Great was sent to study under Aristotle, who taught him the secrets of logic, ethics, and self-discipline. But Aristotle didn't just lecture him, he made him reflect. Every day he asked Alexander, "What kind of ruler will you become? Will you rule with wisdom or impulse? Will you be remembered for virtue or destruction?" He drilled into him one core belief. An unexamined life leads to unexamined decisions, and unexamined decisions lead to failure. Years later, when Alexander stood at the edge of the known world, undefeated, he didn't just rely on strength. He relied on self-awareness, the habit of questioning his own actions before making decisions that shaped history. This is why Aristotle wrote, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom," because the unexamined life isn't just empty, it is a life wasted. If you want to evolve every single morning, apply these 3 principles from Pythagoras and Aristotle. 1. Reflect at night, act in the morning. Pythagoras method. Before bed, ask yourself, where did I act with virtue today? Where did I fail to live up to my principles? What will I do differently tomorrow? Then wake up with the answers fresh in your mind and apply them immediately. 2. Question your beliefs. Aristotle's practice. Before you move forward, ask yourself, am I thinking clearly? Am I making decisions based on wisdom or impulse? 3. See each day as a lesson. Instead of thinking in terms of success or failure, see every day as an opportunity to refine yourself. True progress is made in small, daily adjustments. Because here's the truth, most people wake up the same person every day, but the wise wake up stronger. Pythagoras didn't let days pass unnoticed. Aristotle didn't let beliefs go unchallenged. They reflected, adapted, and improved. And now, so will you. You now have the blueprint for a powerful morning. A morning that builds discipline, resilience, and clarity. A morning that puts you in control of your mind, emotions, and actions. A morning that doesn't just prepare you for the day, but for life itself. But remember, wisdom is useless without action. The greatest philosophers, warriors, and leaders didn't just study these principles. They lived them. Now it's your turn. If these timeless lessons have brought you value, don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe for more content on Stoicism, philosophy, and self-mastery. Drop a comment below. Which of these morning habits will you start applying today? Let's build a community of thinkers, warriors, and leaders, one morning at a time. Every morning you wake up with a choice, to stay the same or to grow, to let the world control you or to take control. Most people drift through life, repeating the same day over and over again. But you are not most people. Go, take action, become the person you were meant to be,